Up first, I got to talk about Roco Becht, the quarterback from Iowa State. A couple seasons of starting behind him, and he's bringing in more experience than anybody could. He is the winningest quarterback that's returning to college football, 26 wins under his belt. You can't bring in more experience than that through the portal. And while I don't love his game, he does bring that experience. The big question for me is this is a guy that was pretty good against Big 12 competition. You just chuck him onto one of the top Big 10 teams in the country. This is a guy that can he play against Big 10 competition week in and week out, the best defenses in the country. This is a guy that's used to playing in stadiums half the size of Big 10 stadiums, used to playing against defenses half as good as Big 10 defenses. How will Roco Beck adjust to Penn State football, adjust to Big 10 football? Yes, he's keeping his offensive coordinator, head coach with Campbell and Mauser. That's awesome. He's keeping his QB coach. That's awesome. How can those guys continue to develop him and get him to a point where he can succeed at Penn State in one season? It'll be very difficult. Other Iowa State transfers, tight end Ben Brahmer. I mentioned it earlier. He'll be tight end 1A, 1B with Andrew Rappleyea. I really love this guy. Great size and speed combo. Penn State is tight end U. And there's been an elite tradition under Coach Franklin of developing elite tight ends and putting them into the NFL. I could totally see Ben Brahmer continuing that tradition of excellence. He's the exact kind of guy that I would love to bring in from Iowa State because he's got all the tools already and he's got that connection with Roco Beck. He's the exact kind of favorite target that just makes life easy for a QB. So I'm super happy bringing in Ben Brahmer, tight end 1A, 1B, him and Andrew Rappleyea. What a combo. And it continues the tradition of excellence for Penn State tight ends. And a couple other guys you got to be excited about. Brett Eskildson, Iowa State leading receiver this year. Some of the catches he makes, dare I say, he reminds me of Ladd McConkey. Just a great player overall. Such a great connection with Roco Beck. Always open downfield. Elite speed. Whether he's hitting 22 miles per hour downfield in pads. Huge plays against BYU. Just a great player. Go watch some Brett Eskildson highlights. You will be very happy with what we're getting out of him in the portal. And then we're also bringing in Chase Sewell, Iowa State's second leading receiver. And we're also bringing in Gabe Burkle, Iowa's backup tight end. So in terms of targets for Roco Beck that he's comfortable with, bringing in Brahmer, Burkle at tight end, and Sewell and Eskildson at wide receiver. And then you're also bringing in Carson Hansen, the starting running back at Iowa State. 6 100-yard games this season, 952 yards, 5.1 yards per carry this season. A really solid running back. Yeah, again, there's some questions with how he will do in Big Ten play, but I'm pretty confident he'll fit into that room, be a 1A, 1B with Quentin Martin. I think you got to be excited about those guys coming over from Iowa State. Those are the very best from a solid Iowa State team this past season. Yeah, they were a little disappointing at 8-4, but the year before in 2024, they were an 11-win team, beat Miami in the Pop-Tarts Bowl. These are guys with tons of experience. They mesh well with Coach Hauser's offense. They mesh well with Coach Campbell. These are guys that he's comfortable with. And when you have a head coach that is experiencing so much change, he's going to have so many new challenges coaching Penn State and coaching in the Big Ten. It's going to be very different, and it'll be very difficult for him to make all these adjustments. It's important that he has some safety blankets that he is comfortable with, guys that he can trust in any moment. And it's not 100% new for him. It's guys that I'm confident in bringing in from Iowa State, confident that they can play Big Ten football. And it's crazy that out of all these new offensive weapons that I've talked about today, if Becht is the worst one of those bunch, then man, I think you're going to be in a pretty good spot because the quarterback is only as good as the guys around him. And if these other guys around him from Iowa State and the other guys that I mentioned, like Martin and Rappleyea and Howard and Denmark, if those guys can all support those Iowa State transfers, if they can all support Becht, in an elite level, Becht will be able to perform.